The conditions not conducive for most spring sports, but the snow didn't dampen the spirits of area rugby players. The colder the better for these guys. The Johnson City Silver Bullets versus Tennessee Tech. Johnson City in the dark jersey. These guys are wearing shorts, but of course that's the proper rugby etiquette. Gotta have shorts regardless of the weather. These guys are nuts. Gotta get a picture of this stuff. Here's the scrum, as they say in jolly old England. The Bullets' Pete Charlerton will kick it out of there. I don't know what these guys are on, but fellas, next time just say no. Nice tackle here coming up by the Bullets, driving them right into the slush. Gotta love that stuff. No frostbite reported today, just good, clean violence. Johnson City went on to win the match 6-3. Charlie West with a try. Pete Charlerton added a 2-point conversion. Bullets now 4-0. Next week they'll play in Asheville, where the playing conditions are probably not much better, more like Alaskan rules football here today than Australian rules football. Well, Boston's Roger Clemens is back.
It may be worth the extra money. John Mungle, News Center 5, Outdoors.
Rugby is one of the most popular sports in Europe. It is slowly gaining interest in the United States as well. And as Brian Moore reports, one of the best rugby teams in the 5-state region is based in Johnson City.
When Pete Charlerton came to Johnson City in 1981 from Great Britain, he wanted to organize a local rugby team. He placed an ad in a newspaper and attracted 20 players who knew little or nothing about rugby. 6 years later, the Johnson City Silver Bullets have become one of the best rugby teams in the 5-state region.
I could ascertain that there was a demand for some kind of a contact sport after high school or college for a lot of kids in the area, and this was a natural to insert rugby as that sport.
In rugby, each team tries to score by kicking, passing, or carrying the ball until they can kick it over the opponent's goal line or touch it down behind the opponent's goal line. American football developed from rugby, and both games are similar. Both involve kicking and tackling. But rugby players don't wear heavy protective gear. In fact, they look more like soccer players.
Rugby is a great game because it's a game that can be played by guys of all shapes and sizes. I think one of the great advantages of rugby is that it's basically a perpetual motion game. There are several stoppages, but very few. And the idea of the game is to keep the ball available and moving at all times. So as a spectator sport, it's very interesting.
Johnson City battled Emory and Henry Tuesday evening. The Silver Bullets beat the inexperienced Wasp 37-0. Children said rugby is not only gaining popularity in the 5-state region, but throughout America.
The exciting thing about it here is you're playing the game really at the grassroots level, and it's developing here in the States. And I can see a time, not in the too far distant future, where the United States is going to be a team in great contention so far as world power in rugby.
After Tuesday night's warm-up game between Emory and Henry and the Johnson City Rugby Club, those two teams will get ready for a big weekend tournament. The Coors Silver Bullet tournament coming up this coming Saturday, starting at 11 o'clock right here on the field at Freedom Hall, featuring Emory and Henry, the Johnson City Rugby Club, and also clubs from Columbia, South Carolina, and Radford, Virginia. Reporting from Johnson City, Brian Moore, News Center 5 Sports. Still going on with some of the activities scheduled to end around 6:30 this evening at Dobbins-Bennett. Well, the weather was perfect for a game of rugby football this afternoon. The Johnson City Silver Bullets Rugby Club hosted the Coors Light Springfest tournament on the field behind Freedom Hall Civic Center in Johnson City. Today's cool and damp conditions were ideal for rugby, which is one of the most popular sports in Europe and slowly gaining popularity in the United States. Johnson City defeated Radford, Virginia 12-0 in the first contest. And the question is, how do you score points in rugby? We'll show you how right here. Just watch. The game is very similar to American football. The Silver Bullets work the ball to the outside, pitching it back, and Charlie West is going to be the guy who gets it at the very end, and he scampered over the goal line for what was a score. They call that a try in rugby. Now, the team's coach, Pete Charlerton, is going to add the extra point kick, much like we have in American football as well. And they went on to an easy 12-0 victory. Emory and Henry was also taking part in today's action. The rest of the scores, Johnson City beat Emory and Henry 36-0, and Radford nipped Emory 10-4. The Silver Bullets finish its season at a perfect 8-0. Well, of course, at Martinsville, Lee Nolan and Jimmy Denton will be up. The Johnson City Silver Bullets Rugby Club hosted the Coors Light Springfest tournament at the field behind Freedom Hall Civic Center in Johnson City. Now, rugby, of course, is one of the most popular sports in Europe, but the game is slowly gaining popularity in America. In today's tournament, Johnson City was the overall winner. They beat Radford, Virginia, and Emory and Henry to claim that, and they finish up, Luann, with an impressive 8-0 mark on the season.
All right, thank you, Brian. More News Center 5 after this.